Hello everyone, welcome to Flutter Synchro. In this video, I will explain how to make API calls in FlutterFlow. If you are a beginner or confused about API calls, this video is for you. We'll clear everything in one go. In this video, I will walk you through three different ways to make API calls in FlutterFlow. So let's get started. Open your FlutterFlow project, go to API calls. So the first way I'm going to explain is how you can directly import your API specs. So you can directly import it from your Swagger, or if you are getting your API specs from backend, you can import this from your local device also. Just make sure you have a validate open API as I have already downloaded it. So I'll upload file. Once it's successfully uploaded, you can see this API group here. All the API calls are in group. So you can edit the group. Suppose you want to change the name, you can edit this. And the base URL, you can also edit later if you want to. And suppose you want to add any header, you can add this like I want to add token. So I'll add token XYZ. And suppose your token is dynamically generated, so you can create a group variable like this and define here token. So make sure to add this in group variable like this. You have to define the type of your variable. In my case, it's a string. And also you have to define it is a list or not. Once it is done, you can save it. I will explain about this advanced group settings later. So this is how you can import your API calls. Suppose you are getting API calls from your backend team. So this is the best way you can use it. Just make sure to ask your backend team to provide you a valid open API. So let's go to second way. Let me delete this. So for second way, you can create group here. So just click on add and create API group. So as I explained earlier, you can give any name to your API group. In my case, I'm creating a cart API group. So I'll give a name says cart group. Now we have to define base URL and if required, headers and group variable. So as I have already imported this in my Postman collection, I'll take the base URL from here. So this is my base URL. I'll copy this and paste this into my FlutterFlow. So as I have defined my base URL, if you have any headers, so you can define your header and make sure if the value is coming dynamically, add the value in your group variable. Now let's add API call inside a group. So for that, first you have to add group. Now let's add API call. So let's give any name to this API call. So I'll give name says gets cards item. And now as you can see here, you are getting the base URL. You have to define your API endpoint. I'll copy the endpoint from here and paste it to my FlutterFlow. Now, suppose I have to pass any parameter here. I will pass this through query parameter. Like if I have anything, and I will add this call. And similarly, you can add as many call you want. Now, the third way is doing API call directly. So just you have to click on add and then click on create API call. So when you do directly API call, so for that you have to first give the name. Let's say I'll give this name, get items by ID. Okay, so add item. Now when you do API call directly, you have to define whole URL here. So you have to copy the URL and paste this to your API URL. And as it is my post API, I have to change the method type to post. And once it's done, as it is a post API, I have to pass body. So in body, I am passing this user ID and product. So first define this body type to JSON and then here pass this. And suppose I want to pass this user ID dynamically, then first I have to create the variable for this. And as we can see, this products is list of JSON. So we can also pass this dynamically. So go to variable, add here user ID, which is integer. Then product, and it is type JSON, which is a list of JSON. So we have to make it true. And go to your body and drag this user ID in front of user ID and your products to product. Now, if you want to define any header, you can define your header here. And after doing this, you have to add call. So once it's done, let me go to this cart group and let me show by run this gets cart item. So let's go to response and test and try to test this API call here. Now let me tell you why this test fails and how it will fix. So for that, you need to do additional settings. If you remember earlier, I said I will explain the additional setting later. So this is the reason we need to do additional setting. So for that, you have to go to your group and go to advanced group setting and disable this use proxy for test and use proxy for run and test mode. And if you have any interceptor, like to remove the null from your URL, so you can add your interceptor here. So basically what happened, this API was working fine in my Postman, but the test was failing in FlutterFlow. This is happening because I can block the proxy request, accept specific header, don't allow SSL spinning, reject unknown origin. So in FlutterFlow, options like use proxy for test, use proxy for run or test mode, route your API call through proxy or cloud function, not directly to your backend. So when you disable the proxy Flutter flow call, the API directly works. Let me show. Wait. First, we have to save the changes. Once you save the changes, you can check your API call again. So now when we try to test API call, it will work. So this is how you will see your API response. Also, you have to do these settings in your direct API calls from here. Once you do these settings, okay, I have to pass here data. And now when you click on test API call, it will work. Now save this API. So in this video, we have covered all three ways to make API calls in FlutterFlow. In the next video, I will explain how to pass the API response and use it in your UI.